The purpose of this video is to one, educate anybody who doesn't know anything about narcissistic parents. Two is to tell any kids that are currently being abused by narcissistic parents that they are not alone. As a matter of fact, there are things they could do to help them survive those years until they become adult. And three, for adults that have actually dealt with narcissistic abuse from their parents, understand that you need to start your healing process as soon as possible, because without healing, it's going to be difficult for you to understand the level of trauma that's still inside of you, the level of baggage that's still inside of you that can potentially hurt you in the future and even hurt your family, including your kids. And knowing how difficult it is for a lot of people to be dealing with situations like this one, today I'd like to talk to you guys about the 5 signs of narcissistic parents. 5 signs of narcissistic parents. What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to those of you already part of the community. And if you are new around, on this channel we give relationship advice. If this is something that you're into, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because we've got a lot to talk about. The first sign is indecision and guilt. This is one of the steps a narcissistic parent will use to make a child lose their voice. And how they're going to make them lose their voice? Let's say that your parent is a narcissist. Unfortunately, somebody molested you. You as a child, you automatically expect your parent to provide you with security, right? So by you going to your parent, you expect them to go crazy, to try to defend you. Instead of that, the first thing a narcissistic parent is going to tell you is that you don't know what you're talking about. As a matter of fact, they will tell you if you ever mention anything like that to anybody, they will beat you up because you don't know what you're talking about. They're going to put some type of fear in your head to say if you ever go to the authorities about such situation, you're going to be the reason why the person who molested you, the person who touched you inappropriately, the person who did things they weren't supposed to do to you is going to go to jail because of you. You're going to be the reason for that. It's almost like you're going to get punished for doing the right thing. They will make you feel like if you've ever said something to defend yourself, the person that you were defending yourself from is going to go to jail and you're going to be the reason why they went to jail. Without taking under consideration anything that you've already been through, anything that the person have already done to you, because they are not thinking about that. They are taking your voice away from you. And that's the reason why sometimes you'll meet people, despite whatever they've been through, it's going to be difficult for them to open up. It's going to be difficult for them to have a voice. It's going to be difficult for them to express themselves because they automatically think if they ever say something, they're going to be the reason why someone goes to jail. While the entire time, nobody have ever acknowledged that they were the victim. Nobody have ever acknowledged that they were at the position where they were supposed to do something and to get security from their parents. And the reason why it's the craziest of them all is because you're going to expect your parents, your own parents, to save you. But that's not going to happen because you are dealing with narcissistic parents, or you are dealing with a narcissistic parent. And unfortunately, a lot of people have dealt with situations like this. Unfortunately, people are still going through the trauma of going through things like this without understanding the amount of trauma that was placed inside of them. There are a lot of things that you could do to start your healing process. Find your voice, become the better version of yourself, because until you start healing, you will never fully understand yourself as a whole. So from the 5 signs of narcissistic parents, indecision and guilt is at the top of the list. The second sign is internalized gaslighting. We've talked about gaslighting, right? We've discussed that multiple times. The issue with this type of gaslighting is that it's being introduced to you by your parents. Your parents. The people that are supposed to take care of you, the people that are supposed to put your self-esteem at the highest level, the people that are supposed to help you constantly until the day they die. This is the type of people who are going to do things to you to even question your judgment. This is the type of people you are going to get manipulated by, psychologically speaking, just because they maybe see that you are becoming somebody better than them. For them, it's not just about feeling threatened about it only, it's just about control. They want to be able to control you, and the best way to control you is to control you mentally and emotionally speaking. So they will do things to make you question your judgment, your memories. This is the type of people who's going to tell you, I'm going to put you to sleep in the doghouse, and the next day they act like it never happened. It's almost like you are the one who's crazy. And when things like that happen to you at a young age, you're going to grow up not understanding yourself. It's almost like you're going to live your life as a nobody, because you've never had a chance to fully understand yourself because it was taken away from you at an early age. That's the problem with it. Not only you already don't have a voice, now you are questioning your judgment. You automatically become crazy just because that's what your parents are doing to you. And that's why it's such a big deal. Because from the percentage of people that I've talked to that have actually dealt with narcissists, they'll tell me things like, you know what, I was dating this guy, it was a narcissist. Or my ex-husband was a narcissist. But the most difficult of them all is to be raised by narcissistic parents, because you don't know exactly what's going on. You don't know what you're going through. You don't even have a thought on your own. You don't know what to think, because whatever they are doing to you, they're gonna make you question, like, maybe you are crazy, maybe you are seeing things, maybe you are the one making things up. And from that point, you're gonna end up living your life as a nightmare, because you might not even believe things that are happening before your eyes, because what was implanted in you is to question everything that happens to you, because you don't know yourself, or you don't know exactly what's really happening to you, simply because that's how a narcissistic parent will control you, where you'll be manipulated psychologically to the point where you're going to find yourself constantly questioning your own existence. And as unfortunate it is for a lot of people to be going through things like that actually happen more than you can possibly think. So if you have the knowledge, do not keep it to yourself. Share it with other people. If you've already dealt with things like that and somehow you got out of it, help other people, because a narcissist is one of the biggest unknown threats that society have been dealing with for years. So from the 5 signs of narcissistic parents, internalized gaslighting is at the 2nd place. The 3rd sign is insecure attachment. Insecure attachment is when a child realizes that the one group of people that were supposed to take care of them isn't doing anything that they are supposed to do. They do not give them any good emotional connections. They do not show them love. They do not protect them. They do not provide them with security. Yes, they are still alive. They are not dead, but that's it. There is nothing good going on in the relationship between them and their parents. And from that point, 3 things usually happen. 1, it's either the person doesn't trust anybody growing up. They just do not trust anybody. They do not open up to anybody. They have a wall constantly. No matter where they are or whatever relationship they've been in, they will never be able to open up. 1, they don't have a voice. 2, they've been dealing with gaslighting. And 3, they realize that the one people who were supposed to provide them with security is not doing that. Instead of that, they've been torturing them since the day they were born. At some point, they lost trust in the entire world. And when you find yourself dealing with people like that, sometimes you might think they have trust issues. It's not that. It's just that the personal trauma has taken over to the point where they do not see themselves trusting anybody, because the one people that were supposed to give them everything they needed when it comes to security, when it comes to love, when it comes to emotional protection, when it comes to affection, when it comes to all those good things that parents are supposed to give their kids, did not do that for them. From that point, they're going to grow up becoming that one wall that's never going down. That's the first part. The second part, it's so that person realized that, okay, since I cannot find security from my parents, I'm going to look for security in somebody else. That's the worst, because sometimes they're going to end up dealing with another narcissist. They're going to be dealing with a bunch of other crazy people, but just because they already know back home nothing is good, from that point they become submissive to the wrong people. They become more miserable than they ever think, because they've never had a chance to understand the process of healing, because nobody ever presented that option to them. So that insecure attachment they're going to have from strangers, that insecure attachment they're going to have from ever trusting anybody, is going to be one of the reasons why they're going to always be uncomfortable, miserable, not being able to trust anybody, because they've never tasted any portion of affection from the world. And for people like that, society tends to judge them really bad, simply because they don't know the person's story. That's why you have to really read between the lines before you start judging people. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they had to deal with. You don't know what type of childhood they've had to the point where they've become the person they are today. Sometimes you have to ask questions. Sometimes you have to wait for the person to finally open up so you could understand the person's pattern and the way they carry themselves. And sometimes, unfortunately, when it comes to the 3rd part of the insecure attachment, sometimes they could just stay attached with their parents. This is the type of people you're going to find getting old with their parents because of the things that have happened to them in the past. They do not trust anybody, even if somebody were to tell them there's something better outside than staying with their parents. Since they're already getting hurt by their parents, they automatically think that, okay, there's nothing out there. And this is the type of insecure attachment. It's not like they want that attachment. It's not like they want to stay with their parents. It's because they've been dealing with it for so long, they become numb to it. And this is the only thing they know. At some point, they make the firm decision to understand it's best to deal with the devil that we know instead of the one that we don't. And when you really think about it, this is one miserable path of life, simply because the one group of people that were supposed to provide you with what you needed in this world were the one who took that away from you. So from the 5 signs of narcissistic parents, insecure attachment is at the 3rd place. For sign number 4, we have marginalization. Whenever I say marginalization in the term of a narcissist, it's when a narcissistic parents understand despite whatever they put you through, you're still not only able to survive, but you are still going for the things that you are supposed to be in life. Even to the point where you could become something they'll never be. Therefore, they'll make the concerted effort to take you down no matter what they have to do. The biggest problem with this entire process is that I'm just like, this is your parents, right? That's when you know this is a sick pattern. The one people that are supposed to cherish you are the one trying to put your self-esteem at the lowest level. The one people that are supposed to support you emotionally speaking are the one playing with your emotions or destroy it. The one people that are supposed to understand that, yo, I think this person could actually break the generational curse is the one person putting you down. That's when you know this is a sick pattern. And the reason why they'll do anything like that is because of the person you are is challenging them on the inside. Yes, that's the problem. They realize no matter what they put you through, not only you are able to survive, but you're still moving forward with things that you're supposed to accomplish in life. And they do not want that. That's why it's important from the time that you understand that you are dealing with narcissistic parents from an age that you could take care of yourself, you need to run. That's why it's also important by the time that you've dealt with narcissistic parents, it's important that you get to the healing process. Because you do not want to do things like that to your kids. You do not want to become toxic because you've dealt with so many years of toxicity coming from abusive parents like narcissistic parents. But for you to be raised by narcissistic parents on top of it, it's even more difficult, right? It's even more difficult for you to understand the pressure that's being placed on you for no reason. No reason at all. You didn't ask to be alive. They've decided to bring you to this world just to torture you. And that's the problem. So from the point that you realize you don't have a voice, to the point that you realize that you're being manipulated psychologically through gaslighting, to understanding that you are not safe around them because they've done anything to you to secure your passion in life, and to fall into the mindset of marginalization just because they realize that you are more of a challenge to them instead of them being your parents, this is not the way to live your life. So again, if you know somebody, if you've already dealt with things like that, you know somebody that are currently going through things like that, I need you. Please do me that favor. Help them out. Help them get to the healing process. Because not everybody are able to survive. A lot of people have committed suicide because they didn't have the strength to keep up with such constant abuse. Because it's more difficult to survive from treatments of narcissistic parents. So from the 5 signs of narcissistic parents, marginalization is at number 4. And for number 5 is when you are being manipulated directly or indirectly. This is the type of person who's going to give you the guilt trip. After everything I've done for you, how can you be so ungrateful? They're going to do the blaming game. This is the type of people who's going to tell you, yeah, the only reason why I didn't succeed in life is because of you. If I did not get pregnant and have you, I could have become anybody else. You are the reason why I'm not such and such. This is the type of parents, despite how good you are in something, they'll tell you things like, you know what, you are an embarrassment to the family. Just because you didn't do things as they wanted you to do. They will be comparing you in a negative way. Why can't you be like Sister Johnson's son? Why can't you be like the other kids? They were always trying to play with your emotions so you could get manipulated psychologically. This is the type of parent that will tell you things like, you need to perform at your best to make me proud. This is the type of people who's going to tell you, if you do not go to such and such college, we're going to cut all financial supports. It's like after a while, they're going to realize that, okay, you are becoming your own person, but they're still going to find ways to put their knee on your neck. It's almost like despite how difficult they've already made your life, they don't find it enough. They always have to do something. It's always about them. It's not about you. It's never going to be about you. And if you do not measure up to their expectations, you are nobody. From everything that was said on this video, the one thing we can conclude is that a narcissist is one of the most toxic people on earth. Because if somebody could be so toxic to their own kids, they can actually be toxic to anybody. So that's why by the time you realize that you are dealing with a narcissistic parent, you are dealing with a narcissistic boyfriend, you are dealing with a narcissistic in-law, you are dealing with anything that has narcissistic in front of it, you have to run. And as you're running, it's best to understand the process of healing. Because without that, your level of trauma will never allow you to become the better version of yourself. On that note, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If I've missed something in the process, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.